Alright, man. I'm ready for the finale of this god dang series. Of the trilogy, at least. I don't think they have plans to port anything else. Are we gonna have a concert at this game? Like April? Or something like that? It does have a lot of music. And then before we proceed any further, I closed the tab, man. I closed the tab with the finished Wright trilogy. Tourmaker. Alright, we should be good. I'll do that after we, finish the game. Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the test we had to perform earlier. Test. Yes, test on the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree. Oh yeah, that. Totally forgot about that. That's the weapon that Maya used when she fought with the victim. What were the results? What were the victims? Was it the victim's blood, or was the time constraints test? Full test was impossible, however. I don't say with certainty. Blood that was on this dagger. That is all. Then they must restart the trial. Wasn't Missy's blood in the dagger? Was it? Now stuck in the pine tree in the inner temple garden. It doesn't match the victims. Sure, both the defense and the prosecution know this, but trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some fine evidence from their claims. From everything their claims, I understand, Your Honor. What I've heard. This is dangerously weak, and speaking. Let's finish this quickly. Agreed. Very well, please bring the last witness. Witness, please tell us your name and profession. Maya Fey. Profession is, assistant manager at Wright & Co. Law Offices. According to the magazine I have here, you must be a medium of the carrier and channeling technique. I'm afraid. Fey clan, I don't know what any more to do with it. Oh my, the pain of the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable. Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the events occurred, you were in the garden of the inner temple. And you witnessed the moment of Miss Lee Stalksham's murder. Is that correct? I didn't see anything. Straighten up this instant, young lady. Huh? Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later. Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. Nothing you can do to change that fact. Something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out, and then you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. Go to the crime exactly did you just happen to see? What did you see happen? Excuse me. Witness, if you please. Yes, Your Honor. Passing through the garden on the way to spare purpose happened. Suddenly someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and up against a stone. Nothing screamed help me. Something horrible splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness. Donkey. And you were struck in the head. Suppose it must have been the staff. My person who reached you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I didn't know who it was. I think hard. Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't. Couldn't say it was especially a good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. Seems that it would be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well, then Mr. Wright, please begin Mr. cross-examination. Doesn't look well at all. Oh, there's something warm that splashed over you. You don't mean, was it? I didn't know it at the time, but... Probably blood. Makes sense, that was everything. Saying that one Miss Dawson who was channeling Dahlia was stabbed in the back by the killer. At this moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me. That's when I lost consciousness. You think you screamed? But you're not sure. Listen, that was complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared of my wits. Leaving my dear there, and I would have spoiled my robes. Well, the person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought that it was my last hope. Poor little Maya really was out of her mind. I wondered what she meant by her last hope. What do I do? So you're certain that you screamed help me? I think so. Now that I think about it, yeah, that's gotta be what I screamed. Huh? This is all strange, right? Yeah. Is it all that strange, try for her to scream help me? No, but something about that bugs me. Why would you face someone that's trying to kill you? And go through the trouble of screaming for help? And I'll do the other option too. Oh, whoops. What? What do you mean by your last hope? No, that's what you said. You said my last hope. What? I said what? Look, you were facing an attacker that you couldn't see, and you screamed, right? Screamed, help me. Yeah? You testified that you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope. Oh, well, you know, that's like, what do you call when that happens? Mine's not doing so well up there. Oh yeah? Oh, that's right. Remember now? I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at. What'd you say? Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming for to help. What is it now? Messed up, I didn't mean to let that slip out. Huh? Well, when you are absolutely sure what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person? I'm meant to keep that part a secret. What have I done? It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say. A ton of pressure. We're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information you just presented is vital to this case. When you add it to your testimony. No light, gamer. So there was a man standing behind your attacker? Yeah. That man. He's the killer. Attacked from behind. He's the one who killed Elise Doxson. Otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother. The killer. Maya. You know who killed your mother, don't you? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she's just shocked and confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony. What do you mean? What problem? Maya, on the night of the crime, Stone Lantern was out of commission. Huh? What? It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden. No. Good dunk. Order in this court. Mr. Cadet, please explain this. Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee, stir. This is the state of the wood. This is mine right now. A cafe, I'll do that. Cafe au lait. Not even legal. It's your choice words, or the milk, and you are the spoon. Your Honor. I'm a spoon, I'm not a spoony bard. I'll have you know. You must have noticed too, right? This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a mistake like that. Sorry, but that's not going to cut it. What'd you say? There truly was no light in the garden. There's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony. May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said that she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker. She quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, it would have mean that Maya actually saw our mystery person, but it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker. Oh. Order, order, order. What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under such black conditions? Wright, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? No other light source of that scene. There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark, and now you're trying to cover it for him. Cover? For the man that killed her mother? Only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is. Please, Nick. I don't know anything, please, I'm begging you. Ha. You're talking good the game, try it, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black. So what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff. No, Nick, please stop. Maya's dead set on protecting this guy, the man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I'm gonna get away with it. I'm a lawyer and officer of the court. I'm gonna find the truth. Alright, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you got. Who is this person that Maya saw in the darkness? Good job. Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye, they even teased us about this in like the last case or whatever it was. They able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes? What? But how do you propose to show something like that? It's easy. You need to recreate the conditions of the night. Conditions? Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off. What? This is, but it can't be. Huh? That was a nice bit of deduction. Right. Well, cool. This is the man Maya saw in the murder. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person. What do you mean by that? You got a question. Ask the witness. What are my rules? Well, Maya, how about it? What did you saw that night? The 3 glowing red lights? Well, witness, answer the question. You're wrong. I never saw that. Maya. Well, the person that stabbed my mother was a man. For totally different reasons. What? Yes, Mr. Wright. What the? Stop your chattering, Your Honor. Chattering. It's worth asking. Ask the witness. What are my rules? Alright. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew killer was a man. Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it until I left her woke up, but... the killer. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. Torches were lit, the body was gone, and all the snow around the snow lantern had been carefully cleaned up too. As a person did all of that work alone, I just assumed it was a man. So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I need to apologize. As Mr. Godot said, you're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. The killer. Da Vinci. Wasn't alone though. Saying that you never saw the killer, Pearls was there. Yes. Earlier you very clearly stated that. You saw a man behind your attacker. Nick, I'm sorry. You certainly went through a lot of trouble. Moving his body by a pendulum and manipulating the crime scene. But for what purpose? Why do they do all that? You might knows more than just letting on. Alright, that wasn't it. I mean, I don't think I'm not gonna say Pearls was their forehead, so. You're saying the killer cleaned up the snow? It looked really odd. The snow was removed in an unnatural looking rectangular shape around the lantern, sorry. There was a lot of shovels around the inner temple. They're all really heavy, way too heavy for me to use. An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take the snow away? There's one thing I could think of. Didn't you say there was a lot of the victim's blood sprayed on the ground? Yeah. The area collapsed and ended up being splattered. In other words, Killer's proposal was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation. Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with the blood on it. There was no need to remove that amount. That's true. And just skip up to just the snow that was stained with blood. Maybe there were some mysteries behind this issue. I think this will help explain them. Torches were lit? Yeah, that's how I noticed there was a whole scene that changed. I want to say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be? The killer probably lit them since it'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort to move the body? That's true, it's hard to see how they would be of any advantage to the killer. Only one who would have gained anything from that would be the only person that was the inner temple, Maya. Very well, let me hear some more about the condition of the crime scene. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? It must have been something that the killer just really wanted to hide. The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something. You did? Yes. I feel like the killer was hiding the evidence for me. For my sake. What? Hiding it for you? Everyone knew that I was the only one in the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden, she may have thought that you had done it. No, she definitely would have thought so. You're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened. Yes, I'm sure of it. That's why Gadot freaked out when he saw that there was still bloodiness. Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. Would you add that to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. We're getting dangerously low in our HP here, so I'm gonna do a save. Objection. I'm confident in my stinking choices. Body of everything I got wrong was just because I chose the wrong name. I believe the body of the Dockston was carried all the way to the Hazakura Temple's courtyard, and at the garden, the real scene of the crime. The snow that we suspect was covered in blood. It's all been removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, still one matter that seems somewhat odd. Oh, what would that be? You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Gadot. It's a message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white snow lantern. Maya. Ah. If the killer was so motivated to put Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they writing off the lantern? Ah, you're right. Dunk, 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 dunk. Order, but Mr. Wright, isn't the fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene? Indeed, it doesn't make sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow, then not wipe off the most sacred wall and bloody writing. Or if that's the case, do you have any explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior? Why would this killer remove the body and all that snow, but then leave the bloody writing on the lectern? You can't see it, your forehead. I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. I didn't notice it. Prosecutor Godot, earlier in this trial, you gave me some good evidence, or advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that the crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it. But it doesn't make any sense. Torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that. You're right. There's no way any normal person would. What were you trying to say, Mr. Wright? Only one person involved in this incident. You could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. And who would that be? It was a person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing. Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday. My eyesight's pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. You can't see everything. Is that correct, Mr. Godot? This lantern was submitted as evidence today. I will let the court to think back to the moment it was first presented. This lantern? There's nothing written on it. Why is it written in blood? Help? Nonsense. The lantern is clean as a whistle. Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you cannot see. Correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you? That's right. We went through this once before, during the poisoning case at Tribulations. Isn't the airplane delightful? This bird was ringing at the time. It's time I spilled coffee on. Something's still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why haven't you now explained the bloodstain in this court? The bloodstain. What bloodstain would that be? The Blakeney's prosecutor. Blood-colored stain that smeared all over his apron. Regulars, no one told me anything about a bloodstain. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. Ah, it's strange. A black and white photo, letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them? So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern? Hey, Gramps, didn't you know? There's a reason why I don't drink red tea. It would be empty. I wasn't sure about it until now, but I can't believe the prosecutor Godot is the murderer. But I'm going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Doxton, also known as Miss Misty Fey. Hard to believe this may be true, however, once again Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you. Ha. Just make sure you don't fill up your red ink, Gramps. Come on. How does little graffiti make me into a killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written on there. I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red. This is rich. Do go on, right? The answer is right there in the crime scene. In the snow. The snow? How so? Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why didn't he just out that area? Yes, why didn't he just take out that area? Could it be? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that was seeped into the snow. So we had to remove all the snow. He couldn't be sure of where the blood had landed, so he moved all the whole area. Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't be seeing the blood because it was so dark? Not a chance. Torches were all lit. He would have just been able to see just fine. It seems that once again the trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot? Hold it! Wait just a minute. Maya, what is it with this? Mr. Cadet isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple. The days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after the old breach got fixed. Maya. You can't testify to something like that. Why? What do you mean? I'm not wicked, but I'm... Eek. After the murder happened, he didn't even exist. She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow. Have you seen it all, man? We established this just a little while ago. After the murder, the witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, that's right. Please, Your Honor, let me add that to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me. Maya, do you plan to cover for God no matter what the cost? If that's the case, and I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I'd say we should not silence her. Huh? Left it done, Wright? Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened on the inner temple after the murder. Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling it, and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there at the inner temple, too. After the incident, Pearlie was also stuck on the inner temple side that night. Next morning, she looked around, but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. So Mr. Cadet arrived at the inner temple for the first time. He found Pearlie first, and cheered her right up. Who was this Pearlie? My little cousin, Pearl Fay. So when did you hear about this? Just a while ago when I was in the medical office. Really sorry, but what you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Come on. Pearlie would never tell a lie. Way more honest person than I'll ever be. Real smart, Maya. You always know the best thing to say when you're under oath. Huh? Huh? Prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness. Mr. Cadet, let's just move on to the cross-examination. The defense has no objections. This is highly unusual, but well, Mr. Wright. Let's get this cross-examination started. We found Pearlie first, didn't we? Cheered her up. Well, Gumshoe found her first. That's what Pearlie said. She said she was a very nice older... He was a very nice older gentleman. And for the looking after my cousin, Mr. Cadet. Harry was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict. Huh? Cut it out. Making me blush. This guy is really beginning to get on my nerves. More ways than one. Truth is, there aren't that many places to look on the inner temple side. Policemen were all busy going over the garden with the fine-tooth combs. Started to carry on an investigation of Illinois, Godot style. On the same way, I'd like to hand down my verdicts in my own way in judge style. Maybe I should ask some questions, Phoenix style. But you conducted an investigation of your own. Did you find anything? I think my investigation was about as well as yours, right? After all, I didn't miss the bloody writing on the lantern. Why did I miss it? So speak for yourself, Goggles. Only odd thing I discovered was the beauty in the training hall. Misty Faye, naturally clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue, room with a Western taste. It was already smeared with what's it called, wasn't it? Gravy? Strange way to describe gravy. So from there, you headed to the prep room? What did God just say just now? I think I'd found his proverbial weak spot. I think of any importance here. I really could out when the murder was taking place. It must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed all these dogs in them. I mean, we didn't get what he said as information, did we? Maybe we press him, we can then say, we get like the information to say here. First time on the inner temple side, Mr. Cadet. That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question? Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness. What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. Touché, Mr. Wright. Oh well. What do you have to say, Mr. Cadet? Hot nights and even hotter coffee, that's what I always say. Hadn't been for this case, I never would have visited there. Freezing cold temple, in this mountain, I think I'll pass. Never visited Hazuka Temple or the Inner Temple, huh? Huh? You want to say something, Trey? Just like I thought. My dad's lying. If his first visit to the Inner Temple really was after the incident, he shouldn't have known about that piece of evidence. Because you know, in the testimony after fixing the bridge, the policeman came over and where do I press it at then? I'm losing my mind here. I'm just gonna press the thing now, I guess. Okay. Mr. Godot. First time he crossed Dusty Bridge and went to the Inner Temple, well, long before the murder took place. Why would you say that? Because he just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall? Hanging scroll. But Mr. Godot is right. The scroll shows a picture of my mother. Maya, I know you know who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired, 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. Was that wonderfully delicious smell? Did we bring it with us? This morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy. Gravy? Or why gravy, Nick? Gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have any idea of knowing it was Misty Faye. Wait a minute, Nick. Yes, take another look at that hanging scroll. Look at the top. There's a crest there. Oh, that is the mark of the master, correct? Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark, you could guess that there was a picture of Misty Faye on there. True, but Mr. Godot described what it was underneath like this. Clad in their stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue of their aroma of Western taste. Oh, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known what she was wearing. She was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, the day of the murder, you were hiding at the Inner Temple long before the crime took place. Schlunk. Can I ask you just one little thing, Wright? What is it? Whole theory of yours? All resting on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that the crime was going down to be committed. That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak out of the crime scene. Of course, Mr. Godot knew about the plan. Huh? What did you say? Could it be possible that the person knew about the plan? Where is that piece of open once before? Crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan for our daughter's future, and these instructions were hidden somewhere in Fay Manor for a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. Unsealed. Yes, the killer had read these instructions. What's the last time he saved? How he knew the crime was to take place at the Inner Temple. You never know. And you still insist the crafty killer is me? I bet I do. You just said that the instructions were hidden. That's right. Mr. Godot couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden. If he really wanted to know, he would have one great chance to find out. Yes, and what was that? During a visit. A visit? Morgan Fay told her daughter, Pearl, about where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center, that would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. He was dropping in the visit at the detention center? Yes, it could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot. Don't. Order. Mr. Godot, you're under fire again. Murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you? You were the only one who could have acquired this information before the murder. Humans are afraid of the dark, and yet, at the same time, fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's why humans drink the darkness that is coffee. Sorry for always asking, but what does that mean? It means there's a reason for everything? According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the Inner Temple and waited for that crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all that just to protect this witness? That's right. If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, why would I do this? We're nothing but a stranger to me. And a reason to go through this kind of trouble to protect her, you know, her sister. And what you see, I am certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress. The killer's behavior is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. And considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, the behavior is still a little too unnatural. However, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Cadet? A particular reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs. I knew it. You figured it out, haven't you, Nick? Maya? Is you were doing your best to cover for Cadet? For the same reason, huh? Okay, Trey, I'm all ears. Let's hear it. Very simple. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you. What's this? One person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together incredibly. Yeah. Very good reason why Maya Fey's life is so precious to you. After all, she's Mia Fey's own sister. Mia Fey. You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney. Wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney? With your runner's piercing intellect, you must have figured it all out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Godot. His real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right? The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago. Diego Armando. Name rings a bell. Sure, Your Honor. All of this is related to a singular case. A case in which a convict named Harry Fawkes killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court, the tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. In the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando was senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself. Mia? Can't cry yet. Oh. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. I was moved by her. Where she put all of her faith in her clients. That pure, sweet heart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Thoroughly investigated the fake kidnapping incident. And in one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. I'm in the courthouse cafeteria. I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned. Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee. Some newspapers at the time called it murder. Very little information about that case was released to the press. But you weren't dead at all. No official reports ever actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep, deep coma. I see. My body shut down, and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. Woman's poison did a real number in my central nervous system. Lost my sight, and I let my hair turn white due to the damage it caused. It's terrible. Apparently it was a miracle that I even regained consciousness. 5 years had passed since I drank the poison brew. One morning, my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee. 5 years? You were asleep for 5 years? What's possible news was waiting for me? Mia Fey was dead. In the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I loved had been murdered. The woman I loathed had been sentenced to death. The woman you loathed. The woman who was spoiled by scalding hot coffee. Dahlia Hawthorne. Huh? Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. Got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up. That's so sad. With someone like me, for someone who always had slept away their best days, there's only 2 reasons to live to live. It was for those 2 reasons I decided to become a prosecutor. If I may ask, what were the 2 reasons to live? First was you, Wright. Huh? Me? If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Mia Fey never would have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her, but you let her die, it was all your fault. It wasn't like that. I wanted to see for myself what kind of man you really were. That's why I became a prosecutor. My other reason for living was by the name of Maya Fey. You mean me? You were the only way I could make up for the sins of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Currian village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about it. That's how you overheard Pearl's visit to the Morgan Detention Center. I knew that the time was drawing near, so I knew the plan, that I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep the girl from being caught up in it. That makes sense? If Pearl had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out. Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices. Iris of Hazakura Temple and Misty Faye. I actually needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall for my backup plan in case we couldn't control Pearl Faye. But how did you contact my mother? She had been missing for almost 20 years. Officially, yes. What? What do you mean, officially? You've heard about it, haven't you? About the strong ties between the main family and the government? Now that you mentioned it, you need to say something to that effect. She said that the Master of Courier had a great authority. Even without her official position, Misty Faye still wielded a great influence. Police had been keeping an eye on all the movements all this time. That's why I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor. So my mother was cooperating with you? Don't ever forget. No matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you. She always was. That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. You want to know how strong a resolve to protect you was? Look at her staff. Her staff? The one with the sword in it? The day the plan was to be carried out and arrived soon enough. We met for the first time in Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then. How far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Faye, if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. The night of the crime, there was just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan. You mean Pearl's, don't you? We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne. Well, Pearl, what are you gonna do tonight? Well, if you like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together. We thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan. But she never showed up. She was worried and followed me to the inner temple. That was the thing we were most afraid of. And that's why. Misty Faye had to do with the channeling itself. She channeled Dahlia Hopper into her own body. What do you mean? She channeled the spirit first, and Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself. Master of the Courier, Misty Faye's power was supreme. That's how it went down. Channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Faye wouldn't be able to. What? Is this true? My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Faye. That's why I hid myself in the inner temple. Just in case you need to be saved from Dahlia Hawthorne. You died. Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to. Right. Huh? There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense attorney. But you're going to have to do the rest yourself. The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? Only two possible suspects right now. Maya Faye. Now it's sad to say, you, Mr. Cadet. Well, Wright. You're the real deal. Finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of doubt that you can finish this on your own. No, dear. Please don't. Maya. I heard the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Cadet. I can't do what I can testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia and me too. Maya, I know that. Nick. But even so, doesn't absolve him of this crime. Please, Maya, testify. Come up on the spot looking extra fly. Miss Faye, your testimony, please. Final testimony? Don't bother trying to hide anything. Because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips. I understand. We've been playing this thing for 4 hours. Sure, you're right. I'm ready now, Nick. Tell us, young lady, tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder? Time of the murder. Just before it happened. I think I saw some red lights, 3 of them. I thought I'd asked for help, but just then, littered with blood. She wasn't dead though. She struck back, hit me behind her. Suddenly the red lights went off and the whole area was dark. Just in that moment, it was a horrible scream. After that, Dahlia collapsed and I lost consciousness. The red lights. I thought you said you didn't remember seeing them. I'm sorry. Thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden. Things break, right? Even the best of theories. Who was it that stabbed Misty Faye? Like you still can't prove it. You were stabbed by the knife. Maya's telling the truth this time, I know it. The rest is up to me. The scream was you being stabbed. Or a slice, I don't know. Slice stabbed. Proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness. You see the scream here, the scream. I'm gonna press it. What do you mean by just at the moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out? Yes, that's right. Scream that you heard then with Dahlia Hawthorne? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice. What? Huh? So then, that scream came from the killer? That's gotta be it. I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it. And then the killer let out the scream of pain, huh? After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow. I guess. Well, Mr. Wright, things make sense to me. Sounds like a reasonable deduction, but there's a contradiction. Hard to say this, but interpretation would create an enormous contradiction. It makes sense after all. My deductions are almost certainly never correct. Remember the testimony she just gave before the killer let out a scream. Maya says she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and staff had already been plunged into the victim. Is that right? She couldn't have struck back with a sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must be something other than the staff. If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, right? Only one thing I can think of that could have been used as a weapon here. Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back by the staff. What could she have used to strike back at the killer? Take that? Naturally, the dagger that the killer brought to the scene of the crime. Oh, that's right. Right about that. The dagger was found at the crime scene, stuck into the pine tree. Yes, the detective found it in the morning and brought it to me. Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer. She managed to wound him in the wall. Just because he let out a scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood in the dagger could have been from the victim. You're in the blood already, brother. Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? As we learned, it wasn't the victim's blood. It must be the killer's blood. The killer must have what? He must have a wound somewhere in his body. So you're saying the blood in this dagger belongs to the killer? Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood will prove it beyond a shadow of doubt. And yes, Mr. Cadet, prove that it's your blood. That's theory, right? Order in the court. That's the end. Have I done it? Even he won't be able to change the results of its scientific test. Huh? Let me ask you something, Trey? Let's just say that it turned out that I was the killer. You really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that? What? Just think of it for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought it to me. There's already blood in it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought the dagger here into the courtroom. Yes, what does that have to prove? Well, I really were the killer. I'm gonna wash the blade off and then plant another person's blood on it. It can't be. In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, right? The blood doesn't belong to me. Not a chance. It's his blood. And the event seems to be established that the killer would be wounded. Alright then, witness, in your testimony, wait a minute. What's your problem? Am I? No, I probably shouldn't say this, but the contradiction, next explanation. Maya. This dagger? Said it was wounded, that it wounded the killer? That's right. But Mr. Godot had really been cut with the dagger. The clothes should be bloodied, or have a rip on them, right? Maya. Maybe just change his clothes. That'd solve the contradiction pretty easily. What are you talking about? Not that simple at all. Remember back at the day when the murder? Everyone there was in their temple aside got trapped there. That's right. Once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for their temple, Mr. Godot was already there, waiting for him. He never had a chance to change his clothes. Order in the court. This has his... Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him. But no one could have predicted that lightning strike would shut down the bridge. Why would anyone have brought a change of clothes? Did the judge take his smart clothes during the last recess? Well, then maybe the killer took off his... This thinking the goggles were knocked off his face, man. That's when the lights went out. The killer took off his clothes before he committed the murder. That's why he wouldn't get any blood on him. Possible, that's right. You know how cool it gets up there that late at night. After a few minutes with no clothes on, you're frozen solid. That's all you got. I knew you weren't through tough enough for this, to finish this. Right now, if Mia was here, she would have closed the book in this case already. If Faye was here. Come on, Trite. Can you do it or not? How about it, Mr. Wright? You gotta be a killer. It's him. It's the goggles. Take them off. Can you prove it? Have you even got one piece of evidence? Question is whether I can prove it or not. The fact is, I have to prove it. That's the only way I can have. The only chance I have. I thought that is one of the rules of being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring you your magnificent vengeance to fruition, just as you want it. Ha, that's good. Fight it to the bitter end, right? Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the ultimate unlimited penalty? Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Godot? Because it doesn't matter to me. I have the one piece of evidence I need. Give me a break. You get nothing, right? What do I do at a time like this? Simple, I gotta think outside the box and approach from a different angle. Alright then, Mr. Wright, let's hear what you got. One thing that is demonstrated in the previous cross-examination, Killer was wounded. This is proven by the blood in the dagger. But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by the dagger, there should have been a bloodstain in his clothing. There's one place the killer could have hidden this wound. What did you say? Hidden? This is it. While I stand, I need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why. There are no bloodstains on his clothing. This show how he hit the wound. At the end of the line, the final stop, try to see what you got. It's on your person. Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't need to know. You're not able to have the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, Trite? Or was that just now? Yeah. Can't be. You're living on through him. Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. Oh, the point. Beneath your mask. During the fight, the red lights given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right, your mask was flying off your face. Mr. Godot, would you mind removing your mask? You have a dagger wound there somewhere. Then I'd say this whole case is solved. Oh, critical hit. Ding. And just now, saw a spirit in you. Never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic, happy-go-lucky life. You even had the nerve to follow her in her footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought. Mr. Godot. But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find in my heart to forgive was me. You, yourself. I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth, to escape from the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. Hid behind a mask, threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense anymore, so I quit. But you saved Maya. Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway. What do you mean? Are you listening, Maya? If I had really wanted to save you, and there's one person that I should have gone to and talked to right away. Who would that be? Talking about Nick. But I didn't do it. I tried to go to help. Get the help of Iris and your mother. But I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason? Why? I wasn't really interested in saving you at all. I was just trying to salvage what left of my own broken soul. Trying to make up for the fact that I couldn't save Mia. Nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into the situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me. Nothing wrong? You put your life on the line to save Maya. Kangaroo court, man. Was it really for Maya's sake? Even if I'm not really sure. What do you mean by that? That night in the darkness of this garden, I saw her silhouette. Part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hopper standing there in front of me. It could have been Misty Faye, or even that little girl. But I still picked up the blade, and I was dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. I was really motivated by it with the pure desire to protect Maya Faye. Or was it something else? Was it my hatred for the woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, fantasy. A stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. I never ran away from Mia's death. Instead, he picked up where she left off. As a true defender of the people. The point. The pointing. In that one moment, I understood everything. Mr. Godot. I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando. Mr. Armando. I believe in you, and that you were trying to save me. Thanks. Your wound? It's bleeding? Ha? Did you forget already? My world, the color red doesn't exist. These must be my tears. That is blood, man. Tears ever since I woke up from my coma. I think I've been waiting for this very moment. Mr. Armando. Did well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. This time, really is all over, isn't it? Defendant? Yes, Your Honor. Although you weren't directly involved in the murder, tampering with the body in the crime scene is a serious offense in itself. I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Armando explained this to me very carefully. I knew the risk and I willingly cooperated anyway. Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like me to say? Well, one thing I'd like to say to Mr. Wright. I want to apologize to you. Apologize to me. For what? Okay, it's 5 years ago, of course. You remembered? Weren't you poisoned by your own lover? Not exactly, but yeah, something like that. Even now, 5 years later, I can hardly believe it. She was going to do it. Going to kill me. Not all that surprising. Two of you. We really knew each other. Huh? What do you mean? You and my sister? You only met twice. Huh? We only met twice? First time you met was on that fateful day. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria of the very courthouse. Next time you met her was 8 months later. And her again on the day that she stole your cold medicine. That was while I was killed. In a way, this is just, it can't be true. I mean, during our whole relationship we were. For those 8 months, the woman that you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister. It wasn't Dahlia. But one day you can forgive me, Feeny. You mean? That's right. I do you for 8 months. But why? Oh, just a thing. Ever since she gave you that bottle that day, his sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could, because of the police investigation and their surveillance. Couldn't move about freely. That's why you, my sister, from the beginning, she was prepared for the worst. Prepared for the worst. She thought that you might somehow discover the truth. Why she was always ready to deal with you with a moment's notice. Means she was ready to kill me, don't you? She already has so much to answer for, I didn't want any more sins in her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance. And that's why she came to me. Can't even get the bottle pendant back from me in her place. But I couldn't get it back from you. It was something even as simple as that. 8 months passed, and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, because she couldn't wait any longer. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that had ever happened. It was a bit strange, wasn't it? Until that day, you two were partners in crime. She would confer with you. I think you must have noticed. Noticed what? My feelings for you. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever it was necessary to stop her, even if it meant her life or mine. I'm just spending those 8 months by your side. My feelings towards you, they changed. Something to say to you too. Yes, you really are the person I always thought you were. Even after Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believed in you. Thank you. Am I done the trilogy? Not yet. Okay. How many cups of darkness have I drank over these years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though, right now. This one here is the greatest cup I've ever had. Don't you think so? I think it's right. Down the gullet, and the devil laughs. I think you're right. The purpose of this trial was to rule out the murder of the victim, please dox them. At some point, I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case. I understand, Your Honor. Very well. On the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant not guilty. Court is now adjourned. Oh, can I believe it? This game took me a month. I guess it's all over. The way everything ended. Justice really served. Man who risked his life to save Maya's being sent to prison by my own hand. Of course, justice was served. Mia, I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant, I know. But I couldn't save Mr. Armando, the man who cares this deeply for you. You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible. You mean, that verdict? I think one day you'll understand, too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. It was as good as there today as any defense attorney could ever hope to be. Nothing more you can learn from me. Mia, you accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you. I'm sure you'll meet again someday, Phoenix. I know lots of cases and seen a lot of things. Along this journey, I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? Those of these cases predict one possible answer. Nick, Maya, it's just like my sister said. Mia, what'd she say? Wright when it channeled me to get her advice on what to do. This is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry, Phoenix will save you. Everyone will. But, come on, cut it out with all that gloomy face. Can't you see? My sis, and I'm sure Iris too. Are you everything you've done for us, Nick? I'm the greatest lawyer you ever made. I'm going to be so bright and chipper after all this happened. Brutally attacked, you even saw your mother murdered. Youch. Francisca. It's a little soft as always, Phoenix, right? That not work, right? Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. When did you get back? Oh, that's right, I guess no one told her into that. Edgeworth and Francisca had actually been helping me. Helping you? These two hadn't been here on the first day of the trial. The defense wouldn't have gone anywhere. Wow. Well, where were you, Nick? I heard he fell in the river and caught a nasty cold, which forced him to sleep all day. He laid in bed shivering from his fever when Iris's hood pulled over his head. Talk about embarrassing, Nick. Definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth, and you too. Jessica. I don't suppose. There's room for me in this group hug, is there? Oh, Larry. What's with the, longer than usual face? I realized something when I was reborn. I realized that Larry was never of any use to anyone, not even once. Is that true, right, Nick? What? You're asking me? Well, Nick, is it true I've got a place in this world, right? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I knew everyone would be better if all was gone for good. No. Oh my. Oh yeah. Portraits you painted. They were really good. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? What? Me? Why making that face, huh? Edgy? Oh well, yes indeed. If you only can say they lack resemblance. You really mean it? What about you, Francie? Oh, you well too. Wow. Beauty can't possibly be captured by a mere crayon. Claire? Nevertheless, I recognize the effort you put into it, and that's worth something. So then you'll do it, I promise. Ah? Do I get carried away? How about that? Painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. Painting a pearl was pretty darn good too, if you ask me. Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around. Pearls? Where could she have gone? Probably she would have made a beeline for Maya. Oh, I'll go look for her. Bring her back. What was that sound? Hey, Pearly? Right? You seem to be uncharacteristically puzzled. I suspect you were wondering how Maya can be so truthful despite all this happened. Yeah? To be honest, I don't understand it either. That's right, she lost her father fairly recently as well. I can understand how she feels. Maya's a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realized something. Now is after the time when she needs to be as strong as she can. What do you mean by now is after the time? Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded by this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she. It was for that person that Maya's trying her best not to cry. Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya. Edgeworth, I think, I'm starting to understand too. Now, tell me, finish right? It was the Maya phase being strong for her. Pearl Faye. Pearl Faye. The poor kid, after all. The reasons that she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan. For the good of the Faye clan, I'm sure she believed in every last word. She thought she was doing it for Maya, that's why she was so happy. So truly devoted she is to Maya. But there's a cruel irony that it was in exuberance, the edge of this tragedy. Maya Faye's mother was killed, and Maya herself was put into the deepest peril imaginable. This is the only why Maya put him in a brave face, doing it for Pearl's sake, until she gets to see her smile again. Gumshoe, how do you do? Oh hey, this is where you all were. Youch. What was that for, sir? Sorry about that, Scruffy. My whip just seems to have my mind of its own. What's up, Detective Gumshoe? Oh, you know it. Anyone crashing the wind? Let's go out tonight. There's a me, pal. Salary's just sort of kinda gone down by a teeny weeny bit. That's alright. Made reservations at the first class French restaurant tonight. Pretty good work, Scruffy. That whip was your reward. The Gumshoe? At a first class French restaurant, you don't mean. Tries BM. Where else? I knew it. We're doomed. Wasn't Mr. Armstrong arrested? Come on, let's go, everyone. I know he's blackmail, but can't keep Maggie waiting, pal. Yeah, you. Alright, baby, you're invited too. don't forget about me. Pearl and I will be at the loser's shack eating potatoes. You know Maya's taking an awfully long time to get back. Still looking for pearls. Oh Maya, what's wrong? What do I do? Pearl, I can't find her anywhere. I bet she just went back home, but that's all. I thought so too, so I called the village. No one has heard from her. She was just here a minute ago. And Mia was her. It never. This is a 2-hour ride. It never happened before. I figured she has been barely hurt by this incident. Feels responsible for the tragedy that has befallen you, Maya. None of that was her fault. What should I do? Gumshoe? Yeah, what is it, pal? Could you guys go on ahead? But what about you? Maya and I will join you guys once we find pearls. Nick, don't worry about us. That's the Gumshoe. Maybe a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Okay, but you're the... very well finished, right? We'll go on ahead. Okay, that's waiting right there. Well, where should we look? We're gonna really have gone. Let's go, Maya. One place pearls I can think of pearls that have gone to. February 10th. Zakura Temple. For pearls, I bet this is a very important place. After all, it's where this whole incident started. What's this all back again so soon? Bikini. I thought she would be eating mashed potatoes along the night. So she's here? Pearlie is here? She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along, go see her? Alright. This really can't be safe. It's one earthquake away from collapsing the entire village, or the mountain. She's not here. Maya? Hanging scroll? Someone cleaned it off. Got to be pearls. Mystic Maya. Pearly? Why? Why'd you just leave like that? Mystic Maya. Why? I swore that I would never trouble the two of you ever again. Because it's all my fault that Mystic Maya's mother. That's why you came here. It's a good duty to pray for your happiness. You don't have to do that, Pearly. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course I'm sad that my mother is gone, but how do I say this? I'm still happy. You don't have to lie, just make me feel better. No, really. It's true, the one reason I'm still here and all this thanks to everyone who was there for me. My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you. Even if even one of you weren't there, I'm sure it wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong. For all the people that were there for me when I needed them. That's all I can really do. Mystic Maya, I'm impressed you truly are the daughter of the Mystic Misty. This is Bikini. Your mother, Mystic Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she said to me that night. When dishonoring the good name of Courier, I don't have the right to face my daughter. But still, Maya is always in my thoughts. It's true, she'll always be with me until the day I die. Much sooner than she thought, but I'm bish. You spent with the spirit was wise with her. When the spirit was with her, that's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets. Always be with me until the day I die, huh? A rule, something all masters are to follow, isn't there? Never take off the charm until the day they die. That's the master's talisman. Something that Misty kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important. Rather, it was the contents. Sorry. That's a photo. Mother. It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. What makes us human is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? It's a true measure of what human life is worth. Defense attorneys are warriors who are constantly challenged by that question. Don't think too highly of yourself. You're a lawyer. The first time it was broken. Even when the battle is over, and the bonds that connected us are severed. We always return, time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, and Mr. Armando. And Maya's mother, too. Learned that from all of them. Well, shall we get going? Everyone's waiting. This is the day to remember. The day where a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today. But I still can't. Oh, go on, sweetie. Come back for training anytime. I'm okay. Alright, I'm gonna make a brand new start too. I should be getting a bit back for more training, I promise. No, I won't go easy on you just because you're the future master. Make sure to prepare reservations for 3 when you come back. Aren't there like 12 games in this series? But they're all on like the 3DS and mobile. I'm going to have a great feast today, apparently. Like, these are the only ones on console, I believe. Or just on anything other, even PC. Are these even on PC? I don't know. You know why? Because training is about all minorities. Okay, Mystic Mind, I'll eat lots and lots of food tonight. No? There's one thing I don't get. Probably don't want to, but what is it, Nick? Reservations for training is fine and all. Why for 3? Mom, what do you think? You're one of us, Nick. Next time you can train right alongside us. Hang on. They're waiting for you. Take special care of you. I think you're right, Nick. You want to do a special course naturally. It's a great idea after all, Mr. Nick. You wouldn't think Mystic Mind, wouldn't you? You walking hot coals? I don't think so. A nice big meal before we come next time. You know? Wondering if I can say just one little thing. Sure, of course you can. Love this part, I can't wait to hear it. Goosebumps too. Well then, here goes nothing. It's over. Super Pog? I really have to work extra hard now. Master Decurion and the official manager of Wright and Colal offices had to be a good big sister to Pearly and Nick too. I'm older than you. As long as I'm not locked up and captured, or something like that. This is the second time you were captured. 3rd time you were on trial. So it's true, Mr. Nick really is missing my shining armor. You went through with the special course all the way to the end. How dare you? You sat underneath the waterfall for like 20 hours? I think I'll surprise the 2 of them by making them take a reservation. Why do you gotta reservate? No one comes here. No one's lining up to go do the special course sitting under the waterfall for a day and a half. A freezing waterfall. Now he brought me a brand new coat as a present, pal. You feel 10 years younger. Never take it off. Yes, but somehow you just don't seem the same. A dirty, shabby old overcoat is just more detective-like, sir. Don't worry about it. In the name of love, a man will soil himself silly. Don't let us word it like that. You want to soil yourself. I forgot about you even existed, Adrian. Mr. Wright, I am once again your death. Thanks to you, the treasures of Current exhibit were a great success. I even got to see Miss Von Karma, who I hadn't seen for almost a year. Told me how to use a whip and said that I must show you what I've learned. Don't. Dedicated to stopping the evil plans, I would stop reading. Motto is cut it out, please. Pretty cute. Huh? I didn't read the context. We also sell plans to criminals as a kind of side business. I don't know if that's okay. Sometimes I think maybe we're the worst criminals. I wanted to show my appreciation to Mr. Wright for exterminating Don Tarver. And on 500,000, he said, specialty tea, one I mixed with wild ads. He's drinking it now. When thorough compromises, he. Why'd I give you that voice? Programming Makoto Fujumi. Is old and in the way. Wrinkly, grumpy, clown knows a waste of flesh. At least this is what I thought. My grandkids had a birthday party for me the other day. I've been married since 69 years old and I cried like a baby with a dirt diaper. As usual, we have an abundance of work to do. We hired a new programmer to replace Glen Elk. I do hope everyone will get along. His name is Adamada. As soon as I heard his name, I knew our brain circuits would align perfectly. Our reporters. As a murderer, we made so much money, I hardly know what to do. The magazines like us because I pride. Such a ritual. Sorry, I think it's saturated. Hardly wait for her to come back. Wow. She's in prison for assistance to murder. I don't think she's getting out anytime soon. Turned into such a respectable man, Beanie. Sweet of you and everyone else to come and visit me here the other day. Happy that you constantly had your eyes on me, but kind of bad when the little one slapped you so hard you got a nosebleed. Voice? Alright, there are 3 voices in this game. Venus Wright, Banning Grom, and Judd. Miles Edgeworth, Sion King. Mia Fey, Christina Catano. Mr. Gadat, James C. Wilson. Oh my god, the cup throw. Francisco Von Karma. Janet Sue. Or Sue, I think. I don't know how it's worded. Payne? Winston Payne. I see Winston's in Payne. David Chryslip. Wendy Olbag. When do you speak? What's this? I'm back from the long and tiring vacation. No one is here to greet me. That's while I was gone, my little whippersnapper buddy quit, and now I have to get out no one. What kind of lonely, crazy security room is it supposed to be anyway? Watch all the flashing lights and switches, I feel like some kind of space alien. And now what am I going to do with all these macadamia nuts? If I bring them over as you, I'm not ready to read. Painful is fragile heart. Oh, when that was a good time. Right ahead of that time. It does sometimes see you in the 3rd game, right? I don't think you're in any other time. Finally found something I love to do. Francis whippity trip. Gotta turn the art world on its head. I should have realized it sooner. It's self-centered, lazy, antisocial. I'm an artist. A really good portrait artist. I'm not a loser after all. Executive producer, Shinji Mikami. Oh, you're so tiny. Those are all giants. My god. And if they port the other games, I'll definitely play the other games. 100%. Achievement unlocked. A lawyer only cries once it's all over. Clear all Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. Another achievement. Bridge to a Turnabout. Complete episode 5 of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. Alright, hold on. Hold. We're gonna do the tier list in just a second here. Alright, let's see. So, the Phoenix Wright trilogy tier list maker. So I gotta see them by their names because this isn't in order. I think getting a new game here will let me select the chapter. I mean, we'll go. I'm gonna have the intro case be the B rating for all of them. I just think that's just a great way to do it, and then order them in the order of what I think is the best. So you're an intro. Walt's Turnabout. One with Maggie Bird in the picture right here. That was my least favorite of the three. But then again, I don't really remember the one with Larry. I like this one actually, so I think this one's the best out of the three. So let's see here. So we're gonna go in reverse since Trials and Tribulations is fresh in the mind. Stolen Turnabout. That's the one. Was the mask really the case too? I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was that good. For now, I'm gonna put that in A tier. I really did like Recipe for Turnabout. I was a fan of that one. Turnabout Beginnings. I think this isn't really the case though. This is an intro to the current case. It's only the trial. I'm gonna put it in B. I think, just because it's not really a case. Richard Turnabout, I really actually enjoyed that case. I think it was actually very good. I'm putting an S tier for now. Justice for All. Union and Turnabout. This is the one with the Eeny Meeny. I think that's also an A tier. I do like. I'm gonna put in. It'll be an A tier. I think. I don't know. It dragged on a lot. I love the finale of it, pretty much. I think it was high octane. I'm gonna keep it there. Turnabout Big Top. I did not like this one. Let's go to C tier. Very well, my Turnabout. This one also dragged on too long. I think it's better than Turnabout Big Top. I'm gonna put it ahead of it. But it definitely dragged on. I liked it. Alright. Turnabout Sisters. It was like one of those ones that kind of like an intro to the game still. Or the series. I mean, it was like the first game. I'm gonna put it in C. After. No, I'm gonna put it in front of Turnabout Top. You know what? Turnabout Top goes to D tier, sorry. And Turnabout Samurai also did not like. I think Turnabout Top from second game is better than that. That's my favorite. Turnabout Samurai I think was absolute trash. Goodbyes? I didn't mind Goodbyes a lot. I think Goodbyes can actually fit in C tier. Now was it ahead of The Killer? Right, the name of the case. I think it is. And then I think Rise from the Ashes is S tier. Absolute S tier. Ahead of the one we just did. That was my favorite case. So I'll post the tier maker in the description, I guess, but we want to do anything else? Let me see. For now, that is the end of this game for now. I don't believe... next is going to be Undertale, definitely. Well, I'll start that sometime next weekend, or next week. I want to do some more, even some trash visual novels. Like some absolute garbage ones, I wouldn't mind. There's not that many out there. So that's gonna be the end of this. But I'm gonna do something else. It'll take like 5 minutes though.